Welcome to The Last of the Wild Man. So, this is going to be a segment that I get into and speak a few minutes every week, just diving into topics and aspects of masculinity in the modern age. I think there's this urge or this yearning for something that men don't know how to express or how to get to with modern society. And that's what we're going to dive into. And that's what this channel's for. So, who am I? I'm Trent Christie. I developed a modern day rites of passage for men called the 12 Labors, where we kind of follow through the mythology of Hercules and learn a lot about masculinity, what it is, how to use it properly, and run through a gauntlet of challenges and real world rites of passage, which are lacking in modern day. What do we have? Like, what is there? You sleep with the first girl, like, now are you a man? Or you make X amount of money, you buy a house, and now you're a man. Like, these aren't lines in the sand that you step across and you've now become this mature masculine figure. It just it doesn't exist anymore. And I think that's a problem with a lot of what's going on in today's day and age is we lack masculinity. And we're going to dive into that. It's been a fascinating thing to study and to work with men on for the last few years. And the more we do it, the more I realize that this is something all men need to go through. And so today I want to talk on the wild man. You see, it's only wild men who are willing to take risks and ride old beater Honda trikes like this 84. But that's because the wild man's willing to get bucked off, crushed, which happened to me last year, broken, scarred, and just get back up and do it all over again. But the wild man isn't just found on trikes and trails, backcountry, out here in the bush. The wild man is in every one of us. We don't realize it's just he's behind bars. He's been tamed. He's been caged. And if you feel like there's something stirring in you, you don't quite know what it is yet, or don't know how to quite fill a void, then you might feel him stirring in there. And this is the place for you. So hang around and listen to what we get into here and with the 12 labors. But yeah, the best way for me to start going through the wild man, just to share a few things, is through the story Iron John. So Robert Bly has a book called Iron John. If you want to learn about rites of passage and masculinity, it's a good book to start with. It's always great to learn through a story. So I'm going to start walking you through the story right now and just talk about a few things. But his book comes from an old Grimm Brothers story called Iron Hans. So Iron Hans, or Iron John, is going to be the newer version, which is a great book. But basically in Iron John, there's this kingdom, so we're thinking like medieval times, and there's a forest out to the west or wherever. But anytime somebody goes into this forest, they never come back, and people go looking for these men who go in there, and they never see them again. And so nobody tends to venture there anymore. Then one day, this you'd call him a knight or a mercenary. He starts coming through town with his dog, and he just asks people, like, what is there to do around here? Like, there's no excitement or anything. And one of the villagers is like, hey, if you go into that forest over there, whoever goes in never comes out. And he's like, oh, that sounds like an interesting proposition. I think I'll go and check it out. I think I could have some fun in there. And so the guy goes off the next day, takes his dog, and he's walking through the forest. He comes up to this lake or this pond, and all of a sudden something reaches out, doesn't quite see what it is, grabs his dog and pulls it in. And he's about to jump in after his dog, and he's like, I better not. Like, thinking back to what they're saying, I'm going to be one of those guys who never comes back. So he runs back to the village, and he tells them, hey, something in the pond, in the lake, took my dog. And they're like, yeah, we told you that. Like, going in there. So he goes back, determined to figure out what this is, and he starts bucketing out all the water. So if you've ever had to bucket out a boat or a basement or anything, you know how much work that is to take a bucket, fill it up, take it somewhere else, do it again. And he did this for the whole lake until at the bottom of the lake, he finds this giant wild man. It's this big, hairy beast of a man at the bottom. And so what do? They're scared, so they cage him, and they're in fear of him. So they put him in a cage, and they take him into the kingdom square, and they leave him there. And the king and queen, their son, he comes out and sees him every day. And the wild man asks him to unlock his cage for him. And he's like, no, I can't do that. And one day, the little boy's golden ball goes into his cage. And he's like, can I have it back? And the wild man's like, yeah, I'll give it back if you get the key for me and unlock this. And he's like, no, I can't. And he's like, you can. And he goes, I don't know where the key is. And he goes, oh, the key's under your mom's pillow. And so we'll stop it there because there's already a ton to talk about here. But you're going to see where this is going to go. We'll follow it up on a further call. But the thing I want to talk about is uncovering that wild man. So a lot of what we do when we start to get into rites of passage is the first while we're just starting to uncover bucket by bucket all the things that are covering who you are on the inside. Like what parts of you exist in there that you've never fully realized or that you've shoved into a corner and put in a cage. And it takes time. Like this isn't something you do in 2 weeks and you think you can move forward onto something else. It takes time to slowly bucket out all this water until you find what's at the bottom. And then what's at the bottom is this wild man who you know nothing about. You now have to start to go through this process of learning. And I just think it's such a great analogy. And having worked with men, I think most men forget to do, and it's not even their fault. We're so busy just producing, making money, taking care of families, leading companies, that we don't have the time to sit back and take this time to uncover who or what's actually inside of us, what's stirring in there, and what needs to get let out. And that's just such a powerful image from this book, which leads into the rites of passage. And so I think it's really important because modern society doesn't want the wild man. They don't need him. Like, they're afraid of him. Like, modern culture is afraid of the wild man. Modern women distrust the wild man. And therefore, we put him in a cage and we get rid of him, and we don't think we need him anymore. And I think it's time that the wild man comes back, because he is that archetype. That pattern running through you is like the most powerful primal part of masculinity. It's this unbridled power and strength that can't be tamed. Like, you can't put shackles on it. It's just, I guess the most important part is it's connected. It's connected back to nature, connected to where we came from, which gives it this power. And when we don't integrate it into ourselves, into our lives, let alone, most of us don't even realize that we have it. But if we don't integrate it back in, we get ourselves in trouble and we become completely disconnected. So even though we might be successful on the outside, we're making the money, we have the homes, we have a lifestyle, there's still something lacking. And a part of that is, it's a part of you that you've just never actually integrated. And that's kind of where I want to start, because where are the wild men? I know very, very few of them in my life. We're not talking just reckless abandon and boys getting into trouble. That's a whole different ball of wax. But I guess at the same time, we almost are talking about that, because most adult men are boys. They haven't gone through, crossed this threshold to fully integrate everything that is to be a mature man. And it's not even their fault. There's nobody to show them. There's no elders to do it. Very few fathers. But that's because our fathers didn't have other fathers to show them. This has been a long time generational issue that isn't just our generation. This is multi generations deep, and something we're trying to take back and create. So if you feel like it, you have this urge to break the cage and start to see what's inside, you're not alone. This is the place for you. Shoot me questions, get involved, hop on a call with me. I'm going to be excited to have a few guys join me on this segment and just talk about things on their heart in this day and age. Not just the wild man, but all the different archetypes that you've probably never learned about. They're powerful. They're patterns that are just operating in your life that you didn't realize were probably given to you and that aren't necessarily you. And you can change them if you want, or if you don't, you keep them. But so much to learn that I think it's time we start to bring the wild man back. Have a little bit more risk. Have a little bit more connection back to who we are and back to to the earth and nature, just so that we stop going so far off the rails. Like, without the wild man, we're soft, man. We're addicted to stability. We're addicted to food. We're overfed. We're chasing highs. We're chasing pornography. We're looking at all these things that the wild man doesn't do that. You start tapping into the wild man archetype. You desire challenge, trial, competition, brotherhood with other men, and you don't just sit isolated and dopamine yourself to death. So yeah, I think I'm going to cut it there. Really looking forward to digging into more mythology and just what's on men's hearts as we move forward. But for now, I'm going to hop on the trike, try to make it home without rolling it, and we'll talk to you next week. So stay tuned for more. We'll catch you later.